Hey guys, Nerdy Perkins here, doing a little experimental video. A user on YouTube asked if I could do some deck builds, and I thought I'd throw my hat in with a little bit of a red, just a pretty basic red deck build, because I think that's going to be the easiest thing to kind of build. We have a lot of red options, and we have like a full set. We have like stage cards, and we have a few other like event cards that we can use to kind of like spice everything up. And I'm thinking of calling this maybe like something like Franky's Shipyard or Franky's Deck Builders. If you have a thought or, think one's better than the other, let me know in the comments below. But let's get into the meat of things, because we are going to be talking about a red rush deck. As I said, it's going to be pretty simple here. We're going to be using a lot of starter deck 1 cards, but I'm going to be mixing in some of the red cards we've seen so far otherwise. But yeah, so like I said, red rush, it's going to be red Luffy leaders, so we're only going to be seeing red cards in here. And you have your Luffy's ability to move Rested Dawn onto characters, and we're going to be using that to our full advantage. And the basic idea with the deck is, once again, I threw in a lot of rushers and a handful of support characters who I think will be able to help them either trigger their rush abilities, their secondary abilities, or some other like little extra tricks in there. And there's some cards I would say are flexible, and I'll mention those as we go. But like I said, we have our basic leader right here, and then we can look at the blockers first. Both low cost. And instead of doing 4, and 4, I just did 2 chopper just for the extra kind of, flex. And, if you have him on turn 1, you can throw it out if you want. But the Bartolomeo is really going to be your main blocker, mostly because you can kind of, flex him into a heavy blocker position. So, like I said, I think I have enough counters down the line that I don't think you need a ton of blockers. Obviously, you want some to help guard you. But I don't, I'm trading in basically, a couple extra blockers for some extra utility and some extra, extra hitters, basically. So next we'll talk about support, our kind of low-level cards that we have in the deck, mostly to help us kind of get what we want done. NAMI is very easy to put in there. She's going to be, if you put multiple on there, you're going to be able to throw multiple Rested Dawn onto characters and get them triggering all their stuff. As I said, definite 4 of. I think OTAMA also a 4 of, though this is one you can maybe flex down a little bit, but I put her 4 of because she is a counter 2000, so it's going to be very useful. Like, she has that use, and she can on play debuff a character by 2000, so she'll be useful to kind of defang maybe a blocker, so that instead of surviving a hit, the blocker will die. It's only useful against characters. You won't be able to do it against a leader to weaken them, but like I said, I think the mix of it being a 2000 and it being, having an on-play effect is going to be really useful. And same thing with BROOK here. I was thinking about, originally I had 2 of him and 2 HYOGORO, but I switched that up because I think BROOK's going to be more useful with the 2000 counter and with his on-play effect, because he'll be able to keep moving those Rested Dawn. So like I said, I think he's a much more solid 4 of, now that I was thinking about it. And then, like I said, I have HYOGORO at the end here, and he's more of a support flexing into. You can use him as an attacker if you really want to, but I just threw a couple in there just because I like his ability, and the idea is that if you have him and you can throw him down and get him to buff that extra character by 2000, maybe that's that extra little bit you need to get through and hit the opponent. Alright, so then we have our low cost attackers, and the one that's definitely a 4 of is your SANJI. He's gonna be your rush. You're gonna throw him down and try to be using him with his rush ability. So basically he's your low cost rusher. And then these 2 guys on either side, I would say you could do 2 of each, like this. You could do you could do 4 of each depending on what you're facing, the deck, like what deck you're facing. Usopp's gonna be really good to get past those low level blockers, which is why I kind of put him in here. And then you have the Luffy, who can play with the Rested Dawn. He can throw those onto him and pop himself up to be an attacker that can attack the opponent. Basically, these are kind of your options of non-rush attackers that you can kind of use to buff up if you're not getting your rushing options or if if you just want a full board so that you have a Sanji, like, you're attacking 5 times in a turn just to try to really rip into your enemy, your opponent. And then our last attacker, we're going to have our heavy rusher, and it's going to be Monkey D. Luffy. I was considering doing like 2 of him and doing 2 of the other rusher, the promo rusher that we have. That's a, 6 cost, 7,000 power. But I think just having 4 of this is going to be way more useful. It has rush automatically, and then you can basically give it that ability to go past blockers. So this is going to be the card, this is the card you're building to get out onto the field, so that you can swing, and then you're trying to keep it on the field so that you can keep utilizing the ability to swing past blockers. Like I said, this is, if you could do, if there's more cards that get a similar ability, you maybe want to throw it in. But the idea is that you kind of use this, and you can use your support events here. So specifically the 4 Diablo Djembe to give other characters that ability to go past blockers. So you can apply that to your Sanjis, you can apply that to your lower level Luffy, and like you can do it to your HYOGORO, or BROOK. So you have a few characters that can flex into that heavier slot, and then you pop this on them and they can get past the blocker. And we have 2 I Can Smell Adventure. This is one where, these 2 are kind of flexible. I like having, kind of a little bit of the option to eliminate those heavy characters, maybe like those queens. And plus, the trigger is really useful. And then same thing here, it's useful to have a couple of these where if you're having a crappy hand, you just you're not liking your options, you can shuffle it in. And maybe you switch out a couple of these, maybe switch out some of the counters I'm about to talk about. Maybe you switch out some of those to get either 2 more of these, 2 more of these. But I think this is a pretty even spread, and you have 4 of the event card of support that you really want, which is the Diablo Djembe. So then we have counter events, and I'm just doing 4 of each of the counter events that we've had for the red. So I'm hoping that, the 4 of each of these will even out your defenses, because you kind of gain this extra utility here with the Red Hawk. So I think, like I said, these would be probably ones you can flex. I would keep probably at least 4 of maybe the low cost one, and then you can kind of play with how many of the higher cost one you put in. But like I said, it has that same kind of ability with being able to get rid of kind of lower level characters and clearing out your enemy's field. So I think it's pretty useful. And then last we have our stage, which I think we'll just do 2 Sunny. I don't think you need more than 2 Sunny. Really, like, it's going to be useful if you have it on the field, but you don't need, you don't want it cluttering it up like your hand or anything like that, because there's not a lot of discard in this. Unlike Kaido, where if you have 4 of his stage because you really need it, and then you have a lot of ability to kind of discard it. This, like I said, probably just 2 of, and then it's just icing on top of the cake to be able to buff up that character. But really what you're going to be trying to do, like I said, is using your support characters to bring those Rested Dawn onto the attackers so that they can utilize their on-play abilities. And, like I said, get as many of them on so you can swing in, for as many attacks as you can in a turn, just to try to overwhelm your enemy as quickly as possible. Like I said, I think it's a pretty basic red deck. That's, like I said, we just have kind of the most options there. I'll likely do some more of this down the road, once we get more card reveals. But I kind of want to wait until maybe we get like a stage, for green, or something like that. I think I have a pretty good Baroqueworks blue deck built up. I'm gonna playtest that a little bit, and that might be the next one of these I do. Just because I think like I said, a Baroqueworks blue, I think we have enough to do. We don't have the full play set of Baroqueworks yet, but we have enough to kind of build a nice little set, and I think it's pretty powerful. It was beating early version of this Red Rush deck like pretty handily. So I think, like I said, I'll talk about that one here next. But yeah, if you liked what you saw here, give it a like, give it a subscribe. I definitely want to keep doing more stuff like this as we get more leaders and more cards to kind of build and figure stuff out. And also, this is I'm my friends are a lot more familiar with building decks, so you know, if I'm off base on anything here, if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. Because like I said, I think there's a lot of there's some flexibility here. You could throw some Cavendish in to, you know, utilize that rush, but I think that'd be more useful in something like the 2-player, like the 2v2 kind of format that I talked about in a previous video. You know, because you'll have a little bit more life to play with. So I think like a Cavendish is an easy add, but right now I think there's other cards that have more utility that you can throw in here. But yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think down below, and I will see you guys next time.